A year after our divorce, my ex-wife wrote, "We need to talk. Urgently." I replied, "Another time, Madison." That's all. Just those 3 words. She called twice after that. I didn't pick up. Let it go to voicemail both times. Deleted them without listening. Some conversations aren't worth having, no matter how urgent the other person thinks they are. A year ago, I would have dropped everything, would have answered before the first ring finished, would have asked what she needed, how I could help, what I could fix. But that was back when I still believed that effort mattered, that caring harder could change outcomes, that being there meant someone would stay. I learned different. The thing is, it wasn't even hard to ignore her. Didn't feel like victory or revenge or any of that. Just felt like closing a door on a room I was done using. Same way she'd closed our bedroom door that first night. All those months ago. Not angry, not bitter, just done. My wife, my actual wife now, was folding dish towels when Madison's text came through. Nicole looked up, saw my face, and didn't ask. Just kept folding. She's good like that. Knows when something doesn't need words. I deleted the thread and went back to my coffee. Sometimes the best answer is silence. Madison was folding dish towels when she told me. Not packing, not crying, just folding the goddamn towels like she was organizing a closet she'd never see again. I want a divorce, Brandon. I was standing there with a coffee cup in my hand. One of those stupid ones that says, "World's Best Dad," even though we never had kids. My sister gave it to me as a joke. I remember thinking, real clear, that the coffee was too hot to drink. But I took a sip anyway, because I needed something to do with my mouth. Besides talk. What? That's all I could manage. Real eloquent. She didn't even look at me. Just kept folding. These green towels we'd bought at Target maybe 5 years back. I've been thinking about this for a while. It's not working. It hasn't been working. And the thing that got me, and I know this makes me sound like some kind of idiot, was that I just talked to her the night before about maybe taking a weekend trip once things settled down at the company. She'd said maybe and gone back to her phone. I thought maybe meant she was tired. Turns out maybe meant she was already gone. Is there someone else? I asked it quiet. Didn't want to know, but had to. Does it matter? And that right there, that's when I knew. Because if there wasn't someone else, she would have said no, would have been offended I'd even asked. But does it matter means yes, and also means she thinks I don't deserve the truth. I set the coffee cup down on the counter. My hand was shaking and I didn't want her to see that. 43 years old, and my hands are shaking like I'm some kid getting sent to the principal's office. The LLC's in trouble, I said, like that would change anything, like she didn't know. Derek and I were working through some cash flow issues, but we've got clients in the pipeline, and I know about the company, Brandon. She finally looked at me. Her eyes were flat, like looking at a stranger's eyes. That's kind of the point. This isn't what I signed up for. We've been married 11 years. I know how long we've been married. She finished folding the last towel and smoothed it down real careful, making sure the edges lined up perfect. Then she walked out of the kitchen, and I heard her bedroom door close. Not slam, close. Like she was closing the door on a room she was done using. I stood there for probably 20 minutes. The coffee went cold. I never did drink it. Just stood there staring at the dish towels she'd stacked so neat and thinking about how I'd have to learn to fold them myself now, and hating myself for thinking something that small when my whole life was coming apart. That night, I slept on the couch. She didn't ask me to. I just couldn't bring myself to go into that bedroom. And somewhere around 3 in the morning, lying there in the dark with my phone lighting up with payment overdue notices from vendors, I realized I was crying, not sobbing or anything, just tears running down into my ears. I wiped them off with the sleeve of my shirt, and I thought, this is what it feels like when you realize you're not enough. Next morning, she was gone before I woke up, left a note on the kitchen counter. I've contacted a lawyer. You should do the same. I folded the note and put it in my wallet. Don't know why. Maybe because it was the last thing she'd ever write to me that wasn't through a lawyer. Derek called that afternoon, my business partner, former partner now, I guess. Hey man, I've been thinking, with everything going on with Madison and the company situation, what I think I need to step back. And step back how? I'm dissolving the partnership, got an offer from a firm in Denver, steady salary, benefits. I've got to look out for myself. 5 days. 5 days after Madison asked for a divorce and Derek was out too, I sat in my truck in the parking lot of the hardware store. I'd been about to buy drywall screws for a repair job at the house that didn't matter anymore. And I thought, rats leaving a sinking ship? Yeah, I told him. I get it. I didn't get it. But what was I supposed to say? No hard feelings, Derek asked. Sure, I said. No hard feelings. That was January 15th. By February, I'd moved out of the house. Madison stayed. She'd already changed the locks. Had her lawyer send me a notice about securing the marital residence. Took me 3 trips to get all my stuff. She wasn't there for any of them. Had a friend supervise instead. Woman named Carol who wouldn't look at me and kept checking her phone. On the last trip, I opened the box where I kept my grandfather's war medals from Korea. The box was there, but it was empty. I asked Carol where they went. She shrugged. Madison donated a bunch of stuff to Goodwill last week, said you'd already taken anything important. I drove to Goodwill after, looked through their donation bins in the back, found the medals under somebody's old VCR tapes, bought them back for $8. The clerk said, well, these are really nice. Military? Yeah, I said. My grandfather's. Lucky you found them. Yeah, real lucky. March 1st, 60 days after Madison filed. We met at a mediator's office in one of those office parks that all look the same. Beige buildings, parking lots, corporate landscaping that nobody ever looks at. The mediator was a woman, maybe 55, with reading glasses on a chain. Kept saying things like, let's find an equitable solution, and this doesn't have to be adversarial. But Madison's lawyer, he wasn't interested in equitable. He wanted blood. Guy looked like he played golf every weekend. Had that tan, you know? The kind that says he doesn't worry about money or late payments or whether his business partner's been siphoning funds. My lawyer was a kid, fresh out of school who did free consultations. His suit didn't fit right. Sleeves were too long. Mrs. Harper is entitled to equitable distribution of all marital assets, her lawyer said, shuffling papers like he was dealing cards. That includes 50% equity in the marital residence, the vehicles, and yes, Mr. Harper, the business. My chest got tight. The LLC was founded before we got married. Late 2012. We didn't marry until June of 2013. But it was substantially increased in value during the marriage. With marital resources, your wife supported you. Supported me? I couldn't help it. The laugh came out wrong, bitter. She worked part-time retail at Nordstrom and spent everything she made. I built that company sleeping 4 hours a night for 7 years. Madison looked at me then, really looked at me. And you know what I saw? Nothing. No guilt, no regret, no acknowledgement that maybe, just maybe, she was taking something she hadn't earned. Just this cold calculation like I was a bank account she was closing out. Mr. Harper? My lawyer touched my arm. Kid probably wasn't even 30. Let's stay focused on resolution. The mediator cleared her throat. Given the current financial state of the business, perhaps we can discuss alternative asset distribution. What's the business worth? Madison's lawyer asked. My lawyer fumbled with papers. Book value shows approximately $85,000 in assets, equipment, client contracts, intellectual property. However, there's roughly $120,000 in outstanding debt. Net value is negative $35,000. And so my client would be entitled to forced liquidation, split the asset proceeds. I felt something crack in my chest, not my heart or anything poetic like that, more like the sound of a door slamming shut on every year I'd worked 18-hour days. Every client I'd landed, every time I'd chosen the company over sleep, over vacations, over sitting on the couch watching TV with my wife. I'll assume 100% of the business debt personally, I said. Heard myself say it like I was listening to someone else talk. In exchange for sole ownership of the LLC, Madison's lawyer smiled. Actually smiled. That's very generous, but the marital residence has approximately $60,000 in equity, plus the vehicles represent another $15,000. She can have the house, I said. The Lexus. The furniture. Everything. I'll execute a quitclaim deed for the property and transfer title on the vehicles. Today, right now, but the company's mine. My lawyer looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Maybe I had. But I couldn't let her have that. It was the only thing I'd ever built that was mine. The only thing that proved I was worth something. Madison leaned over and whispered to her lawyer. He nodded, whispered back. She sat up straight and said, fine. Just like that. Fine. Like she'd gotten exactly what she came for and probably couldn't believe I was stupid enough to trade $75,000 in clean assets for a failing business and a mountain of debt. We signed papers for another 40 minutes. I kept having to look away because my hands were shaking again, and I didn't want anyone to see. When it was done, the mediator shook both our hands and said something about moving forward with grace. Grace. Jesus Christ. I walked out to the parking lot and realized I'd just signed away my car. Madison drove off in the Lexus, the one I'd made payments on for 3 years, and didn't even look back. I called an Uber and waited under a tree by the courthouse, watching people come and go, living their normal lives. The driver asked me if I'd had a good day. I said, yeah, great day. And I meant it to sound sarcastic, like a joke, but it came out flat and sad instead. He didn't say anything else the whole ride. He dropped me at my buddy Rick's place. Rick worked construction, had a garage he said I could use to store my stuff. I'd been sleeping there for a week already. Had an air mattress between boxes of my life. I called Derek that night, figured he should know the partnership was officially dissolved, that I'd kept the business, Sorry it worked out like this, man, he said. Voice sounded weird, distant. But hey, maybe it's for the best. Fresh start and all that. Yeah, I said. Fresh start. Are you going to be okay? I looked around Rick's garage. Concrete floor, cardboard boxes, tools hanging on pegboard walls. Could smell motor oil and old lawn clippings. Sure, I'm fine. Look, I gotta go, but if you need anything. He didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. We both knew he wouldn't be there if I called. The divorce decree came in the mail March 15th. 60 days start to finish. Turns out, when nobody's fighting over kids or arguing about who gets what, the whole thing moves pretty quick. I sat in Rick's garage that night, running the numbers on the company, even being optimistic, even if I landed every client in the pipeline. I was looking at 8 months minimum before I broke even, more like a year before I could start paying down the debt I'd just taken on. My phone was down to 20% battery, and I didn't have anywhere to charge it. The library had outlets, but they closed at 6. The gym I used for showers let you charge stuff, but you had to sit there the whole time. I ate a gas station sandwich for dinner, ham and cheese on white bread that tasted like the plastic it came in. Cost $3.49. I remember the exact amount because I counted out the change from my cup holder. That was March. By April, I was living in my truck. Not even my truck anymore. A buddy let me borrow his old Ford. Slept in the back seat with a sleeping bag I'd had since college. Woke up every morning with a crick in my neck and a coating on my teeth that wouldn't go away no matter how much I brushed at the gym. 9 nights I did that. 9 nights of waking up in parking lots, trying to look like I belonged there. Library parking lots mostly. Sometimes behind the grocery store. Once behind the church on Maple Street until a cop knocked on my window at 6 a.m. and told me to move along. He didn't write me up or anything. Just looked at me with this expression like he was seeing something he wished he wasn't. You got somewhere to go? He asked. Yeah, I lied. Just stopped to take a break. All right, drive safe. On the 10th morning, my phone buzzed. Text from Nicole, Madison's younger sister. We'd always gotten along okay at family holidays, but we didn't exactly talk regular. I heard about the divorce. Are you okay? I stared at that message for probably 10 minutes. Didn't know how to answer. Didn't know if I should answer. But my phone was at 15%, and I needed to save battery, so I typed back, I'm fine. Thanks for checking. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Where are you staying? And that's when I realized I had nowhere to lie about. No address to give. No apartment I was crashing at while I got back on my feet. Just a borrowed truck and a sleeping bag that smelled like mildew. I didn't answer. Couldn't. She called. I let it ring 4 times before I picked up. Brandon? Her voice was soft, careful. Where are you right now? Parking lot, I said. Then, because I couldn't lie to her, I've been staying in a friend's truck for a bit, just temporary, while I figure things out. Silence on the other end. Then, come to my apartment. I've got a spare room, air mattress, but it's better than a truck. Nicole, I can't. You can, she said. And you will. Text me when you're 10 minutes out. She hung up before I could argue. I sat there in that parking lot. It was the one behind the public library. And I felt something crack. Not my pride, exactly. More like the shell I'd been holding around myself to keep from falling apart completely. I drove to her place, took 30 minutes, had to stop for gas, and put in exactly $12 because that's all I had until a client payment cleared. Nicole was waiting on the porch of her apartment building when I pulled up. Small place, 2nd floor, paint peeling on the window frames. She waved, smiled, like it was normal. Like I wasn't showing up with a garbage bag of clothes and a face I hadn't shaved in 3 days. Come on up, she said. I've got coffee on. I followed her upstairs. The spare room was small. Air mattress on the floor, clean sheets folded on top, window overlooked the parking lot, bathroom across the hall. It's not much, she said. It's perfect, I told her, and I meant it. That night, lying on that air mattress, in a room that smelled like laundry detergent, and Nicole's cooking from down the hall, I cried again, quiet, into the pillow. Not because I was sad, exactly. More because someone had seen me at my worst and hadn't looked away. Living at Nicole's place, I learned things about myself I didn't particularly want to know, like how long I could go without looking in a mirror, or how many times I could say thank you before it stopped meaning anything and just became noise I made to fill silence. The air mattress leaked. Every morning I'd wake up half deflated, hip bones pressed against the floor through the plastic. I'd blow it back up with the foot pump Nicole had dug out of her closet, and every night it would slowly give up again. Felt appropriate somehow. Nicole worked days at an insurance office downtown. Processor, she called it. Said it was boring, but steady. She'd leave at 7:30 every morning, always with her lunch packed in a brown bag. Always offered to make me one too. I always said no. Didn't want to take more than I already was. First week, I barely left the room except to use the bathroom. Worked on my laptop, sending emails to clients, trying to sound professional when I didn't have an office or a business address anymore. Used a P.O. box in Nicole's apartment as my mailing address. She didn't ask questions about that, just said, whatever you need. The company was hemorrhaging. 2 more clients dropped in April. One said the quality wasn't there anymore. The other just stopped returning calls. I knew what they were thinking. Guy can't even keep his own life together. How's he going to handle our project? But one client stayed. Small outfit, custom woodwork. Owner named Bill, who'd known my grandfather back in the day. He called me directly. Brandon, I heard about Madison. I'm sorry. Thanks, Bill. Look, I don't care about your personal life. I care about the work. You still doing quality work? Yes, sir. Then we're good. In fact, I've got another project coming up, small but steady. Interested? I had to put the phone down for a second. Covered the speaker and took a breath. Yeah, I'm very interested. Good. I'll send over the details. That contract kept me alive. $1,700 a month for 6 months. Didn't even cover my debt payments, but it was something. It was proof that I could still do the work. Nicole noticed. She was good at noticing things without making a big deal about them. You look better, she said one night. We were in the kitchen. She was making pasta, something simple with olive oil and garlic. I was sitting at her small table, laptop open, working through a project timeline. Client came through? I said. That's good. She stirred the pasta. You eat dinner yet? I'm fine. Brandon. She didn't look at me, just kept stirring. When's the last time you ate something that wasn't from a gas station? I didn't answer. There's plenty here. Sit down and eat. It wasn't a question. We ate together that night. Didn't talk much. She asked about the project and I told her the basics. She told me about some woman at her office who kept microwaving fish. Normal conversation. The kind I hadn't had in months. After dinner, I started to clean up, but she waved me off. I got it. You've got work? Nicole. I stopped in the doorway. Thank you for all of this. You already said that. Well, I know. She looked at me then, really looked at me. Not the way Madison had looked at me in the mediator's office. Different, like she was seeing something that mattered. You'd do the same for me, she said. I would have, but I didn't tell her that. Just nodded and went back to work. May came, then June. I landed another client. Small operation, website development. Then a third one, consultation work for a startup. Nothing big, but the work was steady and I was keeping up with debt payments. The company wasn't growing, but it wasn't dying either. I started getting up earlier, showering regular. Bought new clothes from the thrift store. Nothing fancy but clean. Stopped looking like a guy who'd been sleeping in his truck. Nicole noticed that too. You're doing better, she said one Saturday morning. We were both in the kitchen. She was making eggs. I was making coffee. We'd fallen into this routine without discussing it. I'd make coffee. She'd cook. We'd sit and eat and talk about nothing important. Getting there, I said. Madison called me last week. My hand stopped mid-pour. Coffee splashed on the counter. I grabbed a towel. Sorry, I said. What did she want? Wanted to know if I'd heard from you. If you were okay. I told her you were fine. What did she say to that? Not much. Nicole cracked eggs into the pan. Asked if I was mad at her. Are you? She was quiet for a minute. Just the sound of eggs sizzling. Then, yeah, I am. She's your sister. I know who she is. Nicole turned around. Her eyes were red. I've known her my whole life, and I've never been more ashamed of her than I am right now. I didn't know what to say to that. She left you when you needed her most, Nicole said. That's not what you do to people you love. That's not what family does. You were family. For 11 years, you were family. And she walked away like you were nothing. Nicole turned back to the stove. I told her I hadn't heard from you. Told her you were probably doing fine without her. Then I hung up. Nicole, I chose you over my sister Brandon. I'd do it again. She served the eggs. We ate in silence. But it wasn't uncomfortable. It was the kind of silence that says more than words do. That night, I couldn't sleep. The air mattress had given up completely. I was just lying on the floor on top of the deflated thing, staring at the ceiling. Through the wall, I could hear Nicole moving around in her room. Then nothing. Then crying. Soft. The kind of crying someone does when they think nobody can hear. I lay there for a long time, listening, trying to figure out if I should knock on her door or leave her alone. Decided on alone. She'd given me space when I needed it. I could do the same for her. But the next morning, when she came out of her room with her eyes puffy and her face washed clean, I had coffee waiting, 2 cups, her favorite mug, the one with the faded flower pattern. Thank you, she said. You already said that. She smiled, small but real. I know. We sat at the kitchen table, both of us tired, both of us carrying things we didn't talk about. My air mattress died, I said. I know, I could hear it deflating through the wall. Sounds like a dying whale. I laughed. Actual laugh. Felt strange in my chest. I'll get you a real mattress, she said. There's a thrift store that sells furniture. We can go this weekend. Nicole, I can't. You can, and you will. Same voice she'd used when she told me to come to her apartment. Not harsh, just certain. We went that Saturday. Found a twin mattress for $40, frame for another $20. Loaded it in the truck I'd finally bought for $800. Old Chevy, ran rough, but it ran. We set up the bed in the spare room, and Nicole stood in the doorway, hands on her hips, looking satisfied. Better? Much better. Good. She turned to leave, then stopped. Brandon? Yeah? I'm glad you're here. And the thing was, I believed her. Not the way people say things they're supposed to say, but the way people say things they mean. That night, I slept on an actual mattress for the first time in 3 months. Woke up without a crick in my neck, made coffee before Nicole got up, had it ready when she came out of her room. Small things, but they mattered. July. Company was steady now, not growing but not bleeding either. I'd landed 4 clients, small operations, nothing flashy. But the work was solid, and they paid on time. I was meeting debt payments, even getting a little ahead. Started working from Nicole's kitchen table. She said she didn't mind. Said it was nice having someone there when she got home. We'd fallen into this rhythm. I'd work during the day, she'd go to her office. Evening, we'd make dinner together. Or she'd make dinner and I'd clean up. Or I'd pick up something from the Chinese place down the street, and we'd eat it out of the containers. We didn't talk about Madison, didn't talk about Derek, didn't talk about what we were doing or why. Just lived. Day to day, small and quiet, and somehow that was enough. August came in with it, the heat. Colorado heat, dry and relentless. Nicole's apartment didn't have AC. We'd sit at the kitchen table after dinner, windows open, box fan running, both of us too tired to move. Tell me something I don't know about you, she said one night. Like what? I don't know. Something you've never told anyone. I thought about it. I hate coffee. She looked at me. You drink it every morning. I know, but I hate it. Always have. Started drinking it in college because I needed to stay awake. Never stopped. She laughed. Actually laughed. You've been making coffee every morning for 4 months and you hate it? Habit, I guess. What do you actually like? Hot chocolate. The real kind, with milk and cocoa powder. I have cocoa powder. She got up, made hot chocolate. 2 mugs. We sat there drinking it while the fan pushed hot air around the room. Your turn, I said. My turn what? Tell me something. She was quiet for a minute. I always wanted to be a teacher. Elementary school. But I couldn't afford to finish my degree. Ended up at the insurance company instead. You'd be a good teacher. You don't know that. Yes, I do. She looked at me. Something in her eyes I couldn't name. How? You're patient. You're kind. You don't give up on people even when they give up on themselves. She didn't say anything to that. Just looked down at her hot chocolate. The next morning, I didn't make coffee. Made hot chocolate instead. Left her mug on the counter with a note. Try it. And when she got home from work that night, she said, yeah, that was good. Better than coffee? Maybe. We smiled at each other. Small moment, but something shifted. September, client named Tom called. Old guy. Owned a furniture, restoration business. We'd worked together back when Derek was still my partner. Brandon, good to hear from you. How's business? Steady, I said, getting better. Good, good. Hey, I saw your old partner Derek the other day. He was having lunch with a woman. Your ex-wife, I think. Figured you knew about it, them being friendly and all. My hand tightened on the phone. When was this? Oh, back in the spring sometime. March, maybe? They were at that Italian place downtown. Looked pretty comfortable. You know what I mean? I didn't answer. Brandon, you there? Yeah, thanks, Tom. I hung up. Sat at Nicole's kitchen table, staring at nothing. March. Derek had lunch with Madison in March. That was before the divorce was even final. Before he quit the company. Before any of it fell apart. Nicole came home and found me sitting there with papers spread across the table. Bank statements. Partnership agreement. Timeline I'd been building. What's wrong? How long have you known? She set down her purse. Didn't pretend not to understand. Known what specifically? About Madison and Derek. She pulled out a chair, sat down across from me. I suspected in December. Saw them together at a coffee shop. The way they looked at each other. The way they didn't want to be seen. You didn't tell me. Would you have believed me? I thought about that. Honest answer, probably not. Maybe. I tried to warn you. Christmas dinner, remember? I said Madison seemed distant. That you should watch yourself. You said you were fine. I was blind. You were in love. And she reached across the table, touched my hand. There's a difference. I looked down at the papers. Bank records showing transfers from the business account, Derek's signature, dates going back to December, $23,000 moved to accounts I'd never seen. Then another $8,000 in unauthorized vendor payments to a company that didn't exist. He stole from me, I said. While he was sleeping with my wife, he was stealing from my company. I know. How long have you known that? I didn't know about the money until right now, but I knew he was dirty. The way he left so fast, the timing, it didn't add up. I gathered the papers into a stack. Neat. Controlled. I need to call a lawyer. Yes, you do. Not the kid from the divorce. Someone who knows business law. I know someone, Nicole said. Guy my office uses for contract review. I'll text you his number. Thank you. Stop thanking me. Can't help it. She stood up, started making dinner. Pasta again. Simple. While she cooked, I made the calls. Left voicemails. Sent emails. Built the case in my head brick by brick. We ate late that night. Didn't talk much. But halfway through, Nicole said, "What are you going to do?" Hold him accountable. And Madison? I thought about that. Nothing. She made her choice. But Derek? He broke the law. Breach of fiduciary duty. Probably conversion, which is civil theft. He doesn't get to walk away clean. I'm good, Nicole said. You think I'm doing the right thing? I think you're doing the only thing. That night, lying in bed, real bed now, on a real mattress, I stared at the ceiling and let myself feel it. The anger, the betrayal, not just from Madison leaving, but from Derek, my partner, the guy I'd trusted with my business, my livelihood, my future. He'd stolen from me while planning his exit, while sleeping with my wife, while pretending to be my friend. The anger felt clean, like a door opening instead of closing. Through the wall, I heard Nicole moving around. Heard her TV turn on, low, heard her laugh at something. Small sound, but it made me smile. I'd lost a wife and a partner, but somehow I'd found something else. The lawyer's name was Robert Chen. Office in one of those mid-rise buildings downtown, the kind with lobby art nobody looks at. I met with him on a Tuesday afternoon, brought all my documentation. Bank statements, partnership agreement, email chains, timeline. He looked through it for maybe 20 minutes. Didn't say much, just made notes on a legal pad. Finally, this is straightforward breach of fiduciary duty. The transfers alone are enough. The unauthorized vendor payments seal it. He looked up. What do you want? The money back. And I want him to know he can't do this to people. Court or settlement. Whichever gets me the money faster. Court will be public record. Settlement stays quiet. I thought about that. I don't care about quiet. I care about consequences. Chen nodded. I'll draft the complaint. We'll file within 2 weeks. Expect 3 to 4 months to resolution. Maybe longer if he fights it. But with this evidence. He tapped the papers. He won't fight hard. On this, how much will this cost me? Hourly rate plus filing fees. Call it $8,000 all in, maybe 10 if it goes to trial. You'll recover legal fees in the judgment. $8,000. Money I didn't have, but money I'd find. Do it. He drew up the papers. We filed on September 28th. Derek got served October 2nd. I know because he called me 3 hours after the process server found him. Brandon, what the hell? You stole from me, Derek. That's not... Look, those were operating expenses. Business decisions. You weren't managing the books anyway. You took $23,000 from the business account, transferred it to a personal account in your name. That's conversion. Then you paid another $8,000 to a shell company that doesn't exist. That's fraud. Silence on his end. I've got bank statements, transfer logs, emails, timelines showing you did this while planning to quit, while sleeping with my wife. Don't lie to me. I've got a witness who saw you with Madison in March. Before the divorce was final. Before you quit. More silence. Then, what do you want? Nothing. I want what's mine. The court will decide what you owe. And this will ruin me. Yeah, I said. It probably will. I hung up. Nicole was waiting when I got home. Had coffee made. Hot chocolate, actually. How'd it go? He called. Tried to explain it away. I hung up on him. How do you feel? Tired, I said. And I was. Bone tired, but also something else. Lighter, like I'd put down something heavy I'd been carrying too long. But good. I feel good. Good. She handed me the mug. To doing the right thing. Even when it's hard. Especially then. October. The company was growing. Not exploding, but growing. Real growth. Sustainable. I'd landed 2 more clients. Word was getting around that I was reliable, that I showed up, that the work got done right. I moved out of Nicole's spare room. Not out of her apartment, just out of the spare room. Didn't plan it. Wasn't some big decision. Just happened. We'd been up late one night, both of us working at the kitchen table. She was doing something for her office. I was finishing a client proposal. Coffee had turned into hot chocolate, had turned into just talking. About nothing. About everything. She laughed at something I said, and her hand touched mine on the table. Just for a second. But neither of us pulled away. I should let you sleep, I said. I'm not tired. Nicole, I know what you're going to say. That this is complicated. That we shouldn't. That I'm Madison's sister and it's too soon and people will talk. All of that's true. I don't care. You should. Why? Because of what Madison thinks? She doesn't get a vote anymore, Brandon. She walked away. Nicole's eyes were bright. I was here. I'm still here. That has to count for something. It counts for everything. Then stop pushing me away. I'm not, but I was. Of course I was. Because I was scared. Scared of losing again. Scared of trusting again. Scared that I'd wake up one morning and she'd be folding dish towels, getting ready to leave. I'm not her, Nicole said. Quiet. Like she could read my mind. I'm not going anywhere. You don't know that. Yes, I do. She stood up, walked around the table, stood in front of me, took my face in her hands. I chose you, she said. I chose you over my sister, over my family, over everything. Comfortable and safe. I chose you when you were sleeping in a truck, when you had nothing, when everyone else walked away. Nicole, I'm not done. I chose you because I saw who you are, not what you have or what you can give me, who you are. And that person is worth choosing. I couldn't speak, just sat there with her hands on my face and her eyes on mine. So stop being afraid, she said, and let me choose you. I pulled her close, kissed her, first time, after months of wanting to and being too afraid, and convincing myself it was wrong. It wasn't wrong. It was the first thing that had been right in a long time. November 3rd, the court hearing. Derek showed up with his own lawyer, younger guy who looked nervous. Derek looked smaller somehow, like he'd shrunk. The hearing lasted 2 hours. Chen presented the evidence. Derek's lawyer tried to argue that the transfers were legitimate business expenses, that there was no criminal intent, that this was a partnership dispute, not a legal matter. Judge wasn't buying it. Woman maybe 60 with gray hair pulled back tight. Mr. Whitmore, you transferred $23,000 from a business account to a personal account. You authorized payments to a company that, by your own admission, provided no services. Your business partner was unaware of these transactions. That's not a dispute, that's conversion. She ruled in my favor. Full restitution, $31,500, plus $8,000 in legal fees, plus interest. Total judgment, $41,800. Payment plan or lump sum? The judge asked Derek. His lawyer whispered something. Payment plan, Your Honor, 24 months. Approved. First payment due December 1st. She looked at me. Mr. Harper, do you have anything to add? No, Your Honor, thank you. She banged the gavel. Done. Outside the courthouse, Derek tried to stop me. Brandon, look. Don't. I'm sorry. Things got complicated with Madison. And the money. You thought you'd take what wasn't yours because I was distracted. Because you could. He didn't have an answer for that. You were my partner, I said. I trusted you with my business, my future, and you stole from me while sleeping with my wife. I never meant, yeah, you did. You meant every bit of it. You just didn't think you'd get caught. I walked away. Nicole was waiting by the truck. Done? She asked. Done. We drove home. Didn't talk much. But her hand was on my knee the whole way. That night, we celebrated. Nothing fancy. Chinese takeout and bad TV. But it felt like victory. Small and quiet, but victory anyway. To justice, Nicole said, raising her bottle of beer. To justice, I echoed. We clinked bottles, drank, smiled at each other. 3 days later, there was a knock on the door. I was working at the kitchen table. Nicole was at her office. I opened the door without checking the peephole. Madison, she looked good. Hair done, makeup perfect, clothes new. Stood there on the porch like she was posing for a photograph. Hi, Brandon. What do you want? Can I come in? No, she blinked, like she'd expected something different. I just want to talk. We don't have anything to talk about. Please, just 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I stepped onto the porch, closed the door behind me. 5 minutes. She looked past me at the door. This is Nicole's place? Yeah. You're living with my sister? That's none of your business. She's my sister. That makes it my business. You gave up the right to have an opinion about my life when you asked for a divorce. She looked down, took a breath, When she looked back up, her eyes were wet. I made a mistake. Okay. And Brandon, I'm serious. Derek and I, it's over. He left me, just like he left you. And I realize now, Madison, stop. No, you need to hear this. I realize now that I gave up something good, something real. For what? For a guy who used me and walked away. For excitement that lasted 3 months. I'm sorry that happened to you. I want to try again. You and me. We were good together once. We could be good again. I almost laughed. Whatever, if it wasn't so sad. We were never good together. You were good at pretending. I was good at ignoring the signs. That's not true. You left me when I needed you most. When the company was failing and I was scared and I needed someone to believe in me, you walked away. You didn't just leave. You took everything. And then you slept with my business partner while he stole from me. I didn't know about the money. Maybe not. But you knew you were sleeping with him while we were still married. You knew you were leaving me for him. And now that he's left you, you want to come back? Like I'm a backup plan. She was crying now, real tears. I loved you. No, you didn't. You loved the idea of me, the successful businessman, the guy who was going somewhere. And when I wasn't going where you wanted, you left. Brandon, please. I loved you when you had nothing, she said through tears. And that right there, that's when I knew she couldn't even see the lie. No, I said, quiet. You loved me when you thought I was going to have everything. There's a difference. I opened the door, started to go inside. You're really choosing my sister over me? I turned back. I'm not choosing Nicole over you, Madison. I'm choosing someone who stayed over someone who left. I'm choosing someone who saw me at my worst and didn't walk away. That's not about you anymore. That hasn't been about you for a long time. She's just using you. Once you get back on your feet, she was there when I was sleeping in a truck, Madison. When I had nothing. When everyone else walked away. So don't talk to me about using people. I went inside, closed the door, locked it. Through the window, I watched her stand there for a long time. Finally, she walked to her car. New car, Mazda, looked expensive. She drove away, and I never saw her again. Nicole came home an hour later, found me sitting on the couch, staring at nothing. What happened? Madison came by. She set down her purse, sat next to me. What did she want? Me back. What did you say? I chose you. She didn't say anything, just took my hand. Was that the right answer? I asked. Yes, she said. It was. December came. Company had its first profitable month in 18 months. $4,200 after all expenses and debt payments. Not much. But it felt like winning the lottery. I took Nicole to dinner, not anywhere fancy. Just the steakhouse on Main Street with the worn booths and the waitress who'd worked there for 30 years. Woman named Doris who remembered my grandfather. She smiled when we walked in. Brandon Harper. Haven't seen you in a while. Been busy, Doris. I heard. She glanced at Nicole, then back at me. Didn't ask questions, just grabbed 2 menus. Your usual booth? That'd be great. She led us to the corner booth, the one with duct tape on the vinyl seat. Handed us menus we didn't really need. Everyone got the steak here. That's what you came for. To survival, Nicole said once Doris left, raising her water glass. To more than survival, I said. To actually living. We clinked glasses. The sound echoed small in the quiet restaurant. Tuesday night, not many people out. Just us and an older couple by the window, eating in silence, the way people do when they've been married 50 years and don't need words anymore. Nicole looked good. She'd worn the blue sweater I liked, the one that matched her eyes. Had her hair down, smiled at me across the table like I was someone worth smiling at. What are you thinking? She asked. That a year ago, I was eating gas station sandwiches and counting change. Now I'm here with you. Feels impossible. It's not impossible. You worked for it. We worked for it. She reached across the table, took my hand. Yeah, we did. Doris came back with water, took our order. 2 sirloins, medium rare, baked potatoes, house salads. When she left, Nicole said, so tell me about the expansion plan. For real this time. Oh, for real? You've been thinking about it for weeks, I can tell. You get this look. What look? Like you're doing math in your head. So tell me, what are you thinking? I told her. About hiring a part-time developer, maybe 2 if the contracts kept coming. About taking on bigger projects, the kind that required a team. About moving to a real office instead of working from her kitchen table. You can afford all that? She asked. With Derek's restitution payments starting and the company finally stable? Yeah, I can afford it. Won't be comfortable, but it's doable. Then do it. You sure? Brandon, she squeezed my hand. Stop asking permission to grow. You've earned this. The steaks came, we ate, and talked about details. Office space, hiring process, what kind of projects to pursue. Normal business conversation. The kind I hadn't been able to have with anyone in over a year. Halfway through dinner, Nicole said, "I'm proud of you." "You already said that." "I know. But I mean it more now. You didn't just survive, Brandon. You rebuilt. That takes something." "Couldn't have done it without you." "Maybe, but you're the one who showed up every day. Who kept going when it would have been easier to quit. That was you." I didn't know what to say to that. So I just ate my steak and tried not to feel like my chest was too full. After dinner, we walked downtown. Christmas lights were up, the kind small towns do, strung across Main Street, wrapped around tree trunks, draped over storefronts. Cold out, breath visible, but not bitter, Nicole's hand in mine, warm even through her gloves. We stopped in front of the jewelry store. Window display had rings. Engagement rings arranged on white velvet, spotlit, sparkling. Nicole saw me looking, started to say something, stopped. I'd bought the ring 3 days ago. Had it in my jacket pocket right now. Been carrying it around, waiting for the right moment, kept thinking it was too soon, that people would talk, that her family would have opinions. But standing there under the Christmas lights with her hand in mine, I realized I didn't care what people thought. "I know it's fast," I said. "Brandon, just let me say this. I know it's only been 8 months since the divorce was final. I know people will talk. I know your family will have opinions. But I also know that you saved my life. I didn't. Yes, you did. Not just by giving me a place to stay, by seeing me. Really seeing me when I was at my worst. And staying anyway. I had to stop. Get my voice under control. That's everything, Nicole. You would have been fine without me. Maybe. But I don't want to be fine without you. I want to be with you every day, for as long as you'll have me." I got down on one knee, right there on Main Street, in front of the jewelry store, with Christmas lights overhead, and a couple walking past who stopped to watch, pulled out the ring. Simple band, small diamond, all I could afford. But it was real. "Nicole, will you marry me?" She covered her mouth with her hands, tears running down her face, catching the Christmas lights. "You're serious?" "Never been more serious in my life." "Brandon, yes, God, yes." I put the ring on her finger. It fit. I'd guessed her size from the rings she wore on her other hand. And I'd guessed right. Stood up, and she threw her arms around me, kissed me while the couple who'd stopped to watch clapped. "Congratulations," the woman said as they walked past. "Thank you," Nicole said, not looking at them, just looking at me. "Thank you." We stood there under the Christmas lights for a long time, just holding each other. Her face buried in my shoulder, my arms around her. Cold out, but neither of us cared. Finally, she pulled back, looked at her hand. The ring caught the light. "It's perfect. It's small." "Oh, it's perfect," she said again, firm. "Because it's from you, because it means you chose me. I'll always choose you." Good answer. We walked home slow, talked about when, where, how, decided on simple. City Hall, soon. Why wait? "My family's going to lose their minds," she said. "Because of Madison?" "Yeah, Mom's going to say it's too soon, that I'm betraying my sister. That you want to wait?" "No." No hesitation. "I don't care what they think. I care what I think. And I think you're the best thing that ever happened to me. Even though I came with nothing, with debt and a failing company, and you came with everything that mattered. Integrity, loyalty, a heart that doesn't quit." She stopped walking, put her hand on my chest. "That's everything, Brandon. We got married in February, Valentine's Day, actually. Nicole's idea. Said she wanted to remember the date easy. City Hall, simple ceremony. Judge presiding, same one who'd ruled on the Derrick case. She remembered us. "Mr. Harper, Miss Taylor, nice to see you both under better circumstances." "Much better," I said. Nicole wore a simple blue dress, the one from our first dinner at the steakhouse. I wore the suit I'd bought from the thrift store and had cleaned. We'd bought new rings, matching bands. Nothing expensive. We exchanged vows we'd written ourselves. Kept them short. Honest. "I choose you," Nicole said, voice steady even though her hands were shaking. "Every day, in every way, for the rest of my life. You showed me what it means to not give up, and I promise I'll never give up on you." My turn. Had to clear my throat twice. "I choose you. For staying when everyone else left. For seeing me at my worst and not walking away. For teaching me what love actually looks like. I promise to show up. Every day. Every hard moment. I'm here. I'm staying." We kissed. Signed the papers. Walked out of the courthouse married. No reception. No big party. Just us and a few people. Rick, who'd let me stay in his garage. Bill, the client who'd kept me alive. Doris from the steakhouse. Nicole's friend from work. Woman named Sarah. A few others. We had burgers at the diner. Laughed. Told stories. Rick told the one about me trying to fix his lawnmower and flooding his garage with gas. Bill talked about my grandfather, how proud he'd be. It felt right. Small, boom. Small and simple and real. That night, back at the apartment, our apartment now, officially, Nicole said, "No regrets? About marrying you? Not one? About how fast we moved? About what people are saying?" I pulled her close. "I don't care what people say. I care about you. About this. About building something real. Even if Madison made her choice, I made mine, and my choice is you, every time." She kissed me. That's my line. I stole it. I'll allow it. We fell asleep like that. Wrapped up in each other, married, home. March rolled around. 1 year since the divorce was finalized. 1 year since I'd stood in a mediator's office and signed away everything I owned for a company that was barely breathing. The company wasn't just breathing now, it was thriving. I'd hired 3 developers, brought on a project manager named Katie who'd worked at Google and wanted something smaller, more personal. We had steady clients, real contracts, corporate work, government contracts, even some nonprofit projects I took for reduced rates because I could afford to now. I'd paid off half the debt. The rest would be clear in another year, maybe 18 months. Math that used to keep me up at night now felt manageable, doable. We'd bought a house, nothing fancy. Small place on the edge of town. 2 bedrooms, yard with a fence that needed fixing. Nicole and I spent weekends working on it. Painted the living room pale blue. Ripped up carpet and found hardwood underneath. Planted tomatoes and peppers in the garden. Normal married stuff, good stuff. Derek's payments came like clockwork. $1,700, first of every month, direct deposit, never late, never a penny short. He never called, never reached out, just paid what he owed and stayed gone. Heard through Bill that Derek had moved to Denver, working for some tech company, making good money, living his life somewhere far from here, fine by me. We'd crossed paths once at a gas station about 6 months back. I was filling up the truck. He pulled in 2 pumps over. We made eye contact. He nodded. I nodded back. That was it. Didn't wave, didn't speak, just acknowledged each other's existence and moved on. Madison had stopped calling, stopped texting. Last I heard through the small-town grapevine, she'd moved to Phoenix. New job at a marketing firm. Dating someone? Good for her, I guess? Then one morning in late March, my phone buzzed while I was making coffee. Text from Madison. "We need to talk, urgently." I stared at it for a long moment. Could feel the old pull. The habit of responding, of asking what was wrong, of trying to fix whatever problem she had. That instinct was still there, buried deep. 11 years of marriage don't just disappear. Nicole came into the kitchen. She'd taken up cooking, and turned out she was good at it. Better than good. Made these breakfast burritos on Saturday mornings that were better than anything from a restaurant. "Who texted?" she asked, pulling eggs from the fridge. Madison. Her hands stopped. She looked at me. "What did she want?" "To talk. Says it's urgent." "You going to respond?" I looked at the text again. 3 words, "We need to talk." Like she had some right to my time, my attention, my energy. I typed back, "Another time, Madison." Deleted the thread, put the phone down. "That's it?" Nicole asked. "That's it. You okay?" I thought about it. Honest answer. "Yeah, I'm okay. Better than okay, actually." She came over, wrapped her arms around me from behind while I poured coffee. "I'm proud of you." For what? Ignoring a text? For being done. Really done. Not angry done or bitter done. Just finished. Took long enough. Doesn't matter how long it took. She kissed my shoulder. Matters that you got there. We made breakfast together. Her at the stove, me setting the table. Fell into the rhythm we'd developed over the past year. She'd crack eggs, I'd pour juice. She'd flip burrito, I'd grab plates. Didn't need to discuss it. Just knew. While we ate, Nicole said, "Bill called yesterday. Left a voicemail at the house." "Yeah? What did he want?" "Didn't say. Just asked if you could call him back." I called him after breakfast. He picked up on the second ring. "Brandon, thanks for calling back." "What's up, Bill?" "I'm expanding the shop. Need someone to handle the digital side. Website, client management system, inventory tracking, all that. Interested in a contract?" "Always interested. Send me the details." "Will do. And Brandon," he paused. I'm glad you're still around. Not everyone makes it through what you went through. Had help. A smart man knows when to accept help. Stronger man knows when to lean on people. Your grandfather understood that. You do too." After the call, I sat at my desk, home office now, 2nd bedroom converted, and looked at the client list. The project board. The invoices marked paid, the debt schedule showing progress. A year ago, I'd been living in Nicole's spare room on an air mattress that deflated every night. Had been counting change for gas station sandwiches. Had been wondering if the company would survive another month. Now I had 3 employees, a house, a wife, a life that felt real and solid and mine. My phone buzzed again, Madison calling this time. I let it go to voicemail, didn't listen to it, just deleted it. Nicole came into the office. That her again? Yeah. What are you going to do? Nothing. I turned my chair to face her. I'm not going to do anything. Whatever she wants, whatever emergency she thinks that she has, it's not mine to fix anymore. You sure? Completely sure. That part of my life is over, Nicole. Has been for a long time. She can't just text and expect me to drop everything. Nicole sat on the edge of my desk. What do you think she wants? Don't know, don't care. But I thought about it anyway. Maybe Derek left her, maybe she got fired, maybe she just realized what she gave up doesn't matter. No, Nicole agreed. It doesn't. She left to run errands. I went back to work. But the text sat in my mind like a splinter. Not painful exactly, just there. Around lunchtime, another text came through, same number. I know you saw my message. Please, I really need to talk to you. I showed it to Nicole when she got home, bags of groceries in her arms. She read it, looked at me. What do you want to do? Block her number. Then block her number. I did. Right there. Blocked the number, deleted the messages, cleared the thread. Done, I said. How do you feel? Light, I said, and I did. Like I'd put down something I'd been carrying without realizing it. I feel light. That evening we worked in the garden. Nicole planted herbs, basil, cilantro, parsley. I fixed the fence, replaced 2 posts that had rotted through. Normal Saturday evening. Dirt under fingernails, sweat on my neck, sun setting behind the mountains. Nicole stood up, stretched her back, looked at me across the garden. You happy, Brandon? Yeah, I said. I'm happy. Even with, she gestured vaguely, everything that happened? Especially with everything that happened. It got me here, to you, to this. And she came over, kissed me, tasted like dirt and sunshine. Good answer. True answer. We finished planting as the sun went down, went inside, showered, made dinner together, sat on the couch afterward, her feet in my lap, TV on, but neither of us watching. Think she'll try again? Nicole asked. Maybe. Doesn't matter. I'm done responding. But do you think you'll ever want to know what she needed to talk about? I thought about that. Honest answer, no, I don't think I will. Whatever it is, it's her problem now, not mine. Not even curious? Maybe a little, but not enough to care. Does that make sense? Perfect sense, she said. It means you're free? Free, yeah. That was exactly what it felt like. I'd spent 11 years with Madison, loved her, built a life with her, and when it fell apart, I'd spent months trying to figure out what went wrong, what I could have done different, how I could have been enough. But sitting there with Nicole's feet in my lap, and our house around us and our life unfolding one quiet evening at a time, I realized I had been enough. She just couldn't see it, and that wasn't my failure. It was hers. Thank you, I said. For what? For staying, for seeing me when I couldn't see myself. For being here? Where else would I be? Anywhere. You could have been anywhere, but you chose here. You chose this, you chose me. Best choice I ever made, she said, and I believed her. Summer came, and with it, the kind of heat that makes you slow down, stop rushing, appreciate the small things. Nicole and I fell into a deeper rhythm. Coffee in the morning. I'd started waking up before her, making it the way she liked it. Worked during the day from the home office while she went to her job. Evenings together, making dinner, working in the yard, sitting on the porch, watching neighbors walk their dogs. Weekends we'd tackle projects, painted the bedroom, built raised garden beds, fixed the back steps, normal married stuff that felt extraordinary because it was ours. The company kept growing, steady, sustainable. I hired a 4th developer in July. Moved to a bigger office space in August, nothing fancy, but it had actual conference rooms and room to expand. Katie, my project manager, said she'd never been prouder to work somewhere. You built this right, she said one day. From the ground up, the right way. Almost lost it, I reminded her. But you didn't. That's what matters. We landed a contract with a national client in September. Big one. Software development for a healthcare company. Contract worth 6 figures over 2 years. I called Nicole from the office after I signed it. We got it. The healthcare one? Yeah. She screamed. Actual scream of joy. Brandon, that's amazing. I know. 2 years ago, I was sleeping in a truck. Now we have a 6-figure contract. You earned it. Every bit of it. Derek's final restitution payment came in November. Last check. $1,700. I deposited it and closed that chapter. Didn't celebrate. Didn't even mention it to Nicole until that night. Derek's paid off, I said over dinner. She looked up from her plate. How do you feel? Nothing. I feel nothing. It's just done. Good done or bad done? Good done. Like closing a book I finished reading. It's over. Time to move on. She smiled. I like that. We talked about the future that night. Real future. Kids, maybe. In a year or two. When things settled more. She wanted 2. I wanted 3. We compromised at 2 and maybe a dog. What kind of dog? I asked. I don't know. A good dog. A family dog. Very specific. I'll know it when I see it. We laughed about that. Made plans. Drew up timelines. Talked about baby names even though we weren't pregnant. Weren't even trying yet. But it felt good to plan. To imagine. To believe in a future that was ours to build. One Saturday, in December, we were in the kitchen. I was making coffee. Actual good coffee now. Had learned the difference between the cheap stuff and the real thing. Nicole was folding dish towels. Green ones. We'd bought them at Target, same store where she and Madison used to shop. But these were ours. Our towels. Our kitchen. Our life. She looked up, caught me watching her. What? She asked. Nothing. Just this. This? You, me. This kitchen, Saturday morning, coffee brewing, you folding towels. All of it. She smiled. You getting philosophical on me? Maybe. Is this what you thought it would be like? When you offered to let me stay in your spare room? She stopped, folding. Thought about it. No, I thought you'd stay a few weeks. Get back on your feet, move out. We'd stay friends. See each other at family things, maybe. What changed? I saw you, Brandon. Really saw you. The way you kept going, even when everything was falling apart. The way you didn't give up or get bitter or blame everyone else. You just kept showing up, working, trying. And I thought, this is what a good man looks like. I had to look away. Too much. Too honest. And then somewhere along the way, she continued, I realized I didn't want you to leave. Didn't want you to get back on your feet and move out and become someone I used to know. I wanted you to stay with me forever. I'm not going anywhere, I said. I know. That's why I love you. And she came over, wrapped her arms around me. We stood there in our kitchen, morning sun coming through the window, coffee brewing, dish towels half folded on the counter. Nothing special, nothing dramatic, just life. The kind that matters. My phone buzzed. Text from a number I didn't recognize. Brandon, it's Madison. I'm getting married in March. Wanted you to know. And to say I'm sorry. For everything. I hope you're happy. I showed it to Nicole. What are you going to do? She asked. I deleted the message. Nothing. She doesn't need a response. You sure? Yeah. What am I going to say? Congratulations? Good luck? It doesn't matter. She's living her life. I'm living mine. They don't intersect anymore. Not even curious about who she's marrying? No. I hope it works out for her. I really do. But it's not my business, not my life, not my concern. Nicole kissed my cheek. You really are free, aren't you? Yeah, I said. I really am. And we went back to our Saturday, finished the coffee, folded the towels, went to the hardware store for supplies to fix the bathroom sink, came home and worked on it together, me under the sink, her handing me tools. Normal day. Perfect day. That evening, sitting on the porch while the sun set, Nicole said, Do you ever think about what would have happened if Madison hadn't left? If the divorce never happened? Sometimes. And I'd probably still be in a dying marriage, working myself to death, never realizing I was unhappy. So, in a weird way, her leaving was the best thing that could have happened to me. Really. Really. It destroyed me, completely broke me down. But it also showed me what I was made of, what I was worth, what actually mattered. Which is? This. You. A life built on truth instead of pretending. People who stay instead of people who leave when things get hard. She took my hand. I'm glad she left. Me too. That sounds terrible. No, I said. It sounds honest. She wasn't right for me. Took me 11 years and a divorce to figure that out. But better late than never. And me? Nicole asked. Am I right for you? You're not right for me, I said. You're perfect for me. There's a difference. She laughed. Smooth. True. We sat there as the sun went down. Neighbors walked past, waved. We waved back. Mrs. Chin from across the street was walking her terrier. Mr. Paulson was getting his mail. Normal neighborhood evening. This is enough, isn't it? Nicole said. This life. This quiet. This ordinary. More than enough, I said. This is everything. Later that night, lying in bed, our bed, in our house, I thought about the journey, about where I'd been and where I was now, about the man I'd been and the man I'd become. The old Brandon, the one who measured success in money and status, who thought happiness meant never failing, who believed effort could make people stay. That guy was gone. I was different now. Not better or worse. Just different. I knew the difference between people who talked about loyalty and people who lived it, between love that lasted and love that left, between building something real and chasing something false. And I knew with absolute certainty that I was exactly where I was supposed to be, with the right person, in the right place, living the right life, not perfect, but real. And real was enough. Nicole's breathing had evened out. She was asleep. I pulled her closer, felt her settle against me. This was home, not the house, her, this, us. Everything else, the money, the success, the company, the contracts, all of that was just details. This was what mattered, and I wasn't letting go. 3 years after the divorce, a wedding invitation came in the mail. Madison was getting married. Guy named Robert Chen, lawyer, according to the invitation. Ceremony in Phoenix, March 23rd. I showed it to Nicole over breakfast. She looked at it, looked at me. You want to go? No. You sure? Completely sure. I threw the invitation away. Didn't RSVP, didn't send a gift. Didn't think about it again. That same week, Bill called with another project, big one. His company was expanding nationally, needed complete digital infrastructure, contract worth 7 figures over 3 years. You up for this? He asked. This is Major League, Brandon. Yeah, I said. We're up for it. Good. They want to start in May. I told them you're the only guy I trust with it. I took the contract, hired 3 more people, moved to a building twice the size. The company was thriving, not just surviving, thriving. Nicole got promoted at work, senior manager position, 20% pay raise. She came home that night, and we celebrated. Champagne from the real wine store, not the grocery store. Chinese takeout, because some traditions don't change. Dancing in the kitchen to music from her phone. We made it, she said, laughing, breathless. Yeah, I said. We did. We bought a bigger house that fall. 3 bedrooms. Nicole wanted space for kids. I wanted space for an office. We got both, plus a yard big enough for that dog we kept talking about. The company hit 7 figures in annual revenue. First time ever. 12 employees now. Real operation with HR and benefits and everything. I'd paid off all the debt from the divorce. Started saving, building something that would last. One morning in December, 3 years, 9 months since the divorce, I was making coffee. Nicole came into the kitchen, still in her pajamas, hair messy from sleep. She started folding dish towels, green ones. Target again, some things stay the same. I watched her fold them, neat and careful, edges lined up perfect. She caught me watching, smiled. What? Just thinking. About how far we've come. She walked over, wrapped her arms around me. We came a long way, didn't we? Yeah, we really did. Any regrets? I thought about that, really thought about it. No, not one. Even the hard parts. Especially the hard parts. They got me here, to you, to this. She kissed me. I love you, Brandon Harper. I love you too, Nicole Harper. We stood there in our kitchen, coffee brewing, morning sun through the window, our house, our life, our future. Madison sent one last text that day. Different number, must have gotten a new phone. Congratulations on your success. Bill told me your company's doing well. I always knew you'd make it. I showed it to Nicole. You going to respond? She asked. I thought about it. Thought about all the things I could say, how she'd been wrong, how I'd made it despite her, not because of her, how much better my life was now. But I didn't say any of it, just deleted the message. Because she didn't need to know. Didn't deserve to know. My happiness wasn't about her anymore. Hadn't been for a long time. It was about this. This kitchen, this woman, this life we'd built together. One day at a time. One choice at a time. One morning at a time. And that was enough. More than enough. That was everything.